Molly. She's going to give a talk about the ear and ear health and Chinese medicine today. Thanks for being a member to the garden and attending this workshop. And there's more coming up every Tuesday. So keep coming. Thank you.
Hi, welcome. So everyone here is a member of the gardens? Oh, well, I'm a frequenter of the garden, and I'm also a faculty member at OCOM, and I teach Shiatsu, which is a Japanese form of bodywork, and I'm going to teach a little bit about how you can do Shiatsu on the ear today. I'll offer demos if you're interested, and I'll instruct you on how you can do that for yourself. I also have been a teaching assistant for the ear acupuncture class, and so I like to combine the two, the Shiatsu and the ear Microsystem, which I'm going to be talking about more today. But I'd just like to introduce Emden.
Hi.
Anything?
I'm a second year student, so I have about a year and a half to go, so I have 3 years. And it's really exciting for me to be here because I finally learned auricular acupuncture or ear acupuncture last term after about a year of learning about the whole body and where the acupuncture points were. It was fun to turn it into a little microsystem that was on the ear, and it's pretty cool to look at the pictures. I don't know if we have any today, but it shows the human body or a little baby in the ear. That you can really see how the points correlate to the body. So it's fun to think that you can affect everything by one little spot on the whole body. So I'm excited to be here and learn a little bit more as well.
So would you start handing out, these are going to be charts that you can take home that show how the body is mapped out onto the ear. So what Emden was just describing is this idea of imaging or mapping the whole body onto one part of the body. So that's this approach we use with Chinese medicine using microsystems. So the ear is a microsystem. You can also look at the scalp being a microsystem, and that the whole body can be represented in this one part of the body. There's a type of acupuncture that uses Korean hand acupuncture, so points on the hand, if you can imagine like the head and the limbs and the torso. There's also different components of the body. We can take one piece of the hand and create a microsystem out of that for the spine. So if you're having back pain, you could press along areas of this second metacarpal bone and find tender areas that might correspond to where your back pain is. But as far as the ear goes, you can imagine that there's a fetus that's inverted, a little baby whose head is down by the earlobe. And then this ridge that runs up through the center of the ear represents the spine. So you can see closer to the earlobe, there's the neck. If we travel up, you see thoracic, lumbar, and sacrum along the dotted line. So those are specific areas to the spine. We're going to explore that today. Then we can see just behind that area, we have a representation of the upper limb. So starting with the shoulder, coming up to the elbow, the wrist, and then the finger at the top. And then we have the leg a little bit lower, or closer to the top of the ear, with the hip, the knee, the ankle. You can see the toe and the heel. You can just kind of imagine there's a leg superimposed on that area. So, and then on the inside here, this is a representation of the internal organs. So where we have our ear canal, if you want to think of that as the mouth, that's the start of the digestive tract. And the digestive tract just wraps all the way around this inner part of the ear here, with the other organs wrapping around the other little outside part there. So, who here has had any ear acupuncture or ear pressure? Anything you'd like to share about your experience?
I love it, and I also my husband and I are doing Qigong ear exercises, massaging, pulling, flicking, cupping, pumping, beaming,
Beaming.
all of it.
Excellent.
It's so quick and
you do it to yourself or to one another?
We do it on ourselves, but side by side.
Yes. Wonderful. Great.
So I've done acupuncture for over 12 years, and no acupuncturist has mentioned about acupuncture for my years.
All right.
So do I need to be speaking up?
You could ask about that. It depends on the acupuncturist style, and the way I use ear acupuncture quite a bit is that I combine it with body work. So when I'm doing a shiatsu treatment, I'll have ear points in. That is helpful that I don't use body points as much as when I have the ear points in. So it depends on what your acupuncturist is treating you for and their preferences. Some of the options we have besides ear needles, I'll show you what these are what ear needles look like. They're about a 1/2 inch, so this is between my 2 fingertips is the length of the needle, and here's the handle of the needle. We can pass this around so you can kind of see how small they are. They're about the diameter of a hair. Those can be used during an acupuncture treatment with body points. These are also things we can use with the ear. They're ear seeds that have a little adhesive bandage type material that press the ear seed to the point. And the ear seed itself has a little irritant in the coating of the seed that activates the points of the ear. So those might be something you could acquire with your acupuncturist. And I'm also going to pass around, these are 2 ear models. I'm going to give you a 3-dimensional picture of, let's start this one here.
But you take these off in a short period of time?
Those you leave on for a couple days.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless they get really tender or they interfere with sleep, if you're pressing on them on the pillow, you can take them out sooner. But they help to extend the benefits of an acupuncture treatment. Yeah. So the experience that I've had, I think of one client in particular, she was having shoulder pain. And so my treatment was actually for another condition, but I also included in my approach to treat the shoulder. And so when I left her with some seeds on the shoulder point in this area along here that were tender. And she said she was feeling good, and she didn't really notice her shoulder bothering her until after she took out the ear seeds. And then the pain resumed, which was interesting. So people often are like, oh yeah, I don't really notice anything, but then when they remove them, they notice that the pain returns. So another interesting thing about the ear is that this system actually wasn't developed until about the 1950s in France. So although we refer to the ear in the Chinese classics, all these specific points weren't developed until more recently. So this speaks to the idea of Chinese medicine is continually evolving, and that is interesting too in how we are viewing the body in terms of it being a holistic or a whole approach to healing. And so with the microsystems, it offers us more advantages to working with people. If people feel tender when they get body points needled, the ear can be a nice alternative, the scalp can be as well, and they can also enhance and benefit the points in the body.
I had a massage once and I was so relaxed, and then when the gal finished, somehow she just kind of on each side, because she was behind me, she just kind of, just kind of ran her fingers along the inside and pulled.
Yeah.
And so now I see, and it was like euphoric. Yeah, it was just like the frosting on the cake.
Excellent.
So this interests me now, like you see here that you have it says superior ear root/asthma, and then your sympathetic nervous system. So is that kind of, if she kind of rubbed that area, that's what have relaxed or
Yes.
felt so good?
Yes. So that sympathetic nervous system point, it's a round circle that's, it's not a solid one. That means it's on the inside of the ear. So that is actually up inside. If you follow this little ridge all the way back is where that point is. And that's one of a 5-point protocol that's used for relaxation purposes, for detoxification. There's a particular protocol called 5NP, or 5-needle protocol, and that's used in recovery for help with detoxification from drug and alcohol use. And so the idea of regulating the nervous system, promoting that rest and relaxation as opposed to the fight or flight sympathetic response helps just to kind of what you were experiencing, that feels great.
Yeah, totally unexpected.